Hey everyone, this is DyanaRozay. Welcome to my channel. This is my commentary and recap for Love and Marriage Huntsville, Season 4B, Episode 27. So you guys, this was a good episode. I'm actually going to rank it a 10 out of 10. Also, this was the first episode in over a month that both Miss Vanessa and Melody promoted, okay? In her IG stories, Miss Van said, join us tonight after hashtag Love and Marriage Huntsville on the @Love and Marriage Huntsville page. And Miss Van had some things to say about the show and that other brother, okay? I'm not going to get into it here. That's another video. But Melody also promoted the show saying, so Love and Marriage Huntsville comes on tonight. I posted on my stories to give y'all some behind the scenes of the Destin trip. And then she asked if they wanted to do a trivia game. If you guys missed my last video, check it out because I talked about it there. So be sure to hit that like, subscribe, and that notification bell. Also, you can support my channel by becoming a member. And as always, I appreciate every single one of y'all for rocking with me. Now let's get started. So I do want to say that we had more talking scenes in this episode than we have in any episode, okay? I also want to point out that Melody confirmed production asked her to bring Martel. But I do want to say the scenes did not come off scripted to me. Both Melody and Martel seemed genuine in their interactions with each other and with what they said in confessional. And I also want to say that the scene that we're going to get from Martel and Sheree happened after the Destin trip. Melody said that the Destin trip was taped in June of this year. So it was actually late June, early July. And that secret video of Sheree and Martel holding hands walking in the park that lady was filming from her car, that dropped on July 18th of this year. So that came before the TMZ footage dropped. And I'm just giving y'all this for continuity because what happens in this episode can help shed some light on some things. So the show opens with everybody having breakfast, okay? The kids, Mama Holt. Melody actually flew in a chef, Chef Anthony Thomas, to hook up all the meals for that day. Now, before they eat, little man Tank has to bless the food. And child, when I tell you that this prayer went on for a minute, he was grateful for absolutely everything. Family, friends. He was grateful everyone was alive. Everybody was getting along. He said that he loves everybody on the earth, okay? And Boss Baby had to open up one of her eyes during the prayer and look over to make sure that the sun didn't go down on Tank. He was talking so long. Then they all sit down to eat. They are enjoying themselves. And Martel asked the kids what their favorite memory was. Boss Baby said that it was her daddy's flowered shorts, okay? She told Melody the exact same thing when they were driving down to Destin. But all the kids give their favorite memory, and Martel says that his favorite memory was bike riding right there in Destin. He said that's something they would do every year. And then we get a flashback scene. Martel has some footage in his iPhone. We start seeing him riding his bikes with the family, and they have little Boss Baby in a little basket that is attached to Martel's bike. And you can tell that it is a bittersweet memory for him, but they are there to make new memories, okay? Not just for the kids, but clearly for Martel too. They are living a new normal and they all have to get on board. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, Martel tells Melody to keep in mind Marceau and Tisha are stopping by. And Melody says, say what now? She is completely taken by surprise. Martel said, well, I talked to him last night. Mel said, I know you talked to him, but you didn't say they were coming by. Now, Scott 1.0 may have been a request from production as well. Okay, we can assume that. Because number one, Marceau said, or Tisha said, Marceau never does family vacations. When Martel and Marceau talked, Marceau actually said, I'm here doing a little business, and decided to make it a family vacation. So that was interesting. But the Scotts are in Pensacola, which is not too far away from Destin, and Martel said they will be there in 45 minutes. Now, in confessional, Melody said that Martel doesn't know how to respect boundaries and that he should have ran it by her before inviting them to their beach house. And she also said that the whole stunt reminded her of the disrespect that was in their marriage. In Martel's confessional, he said that he could see why Melody's annoyed. However, he feels that they should all drop their issues and try to be cordial. He also said that he still thinks that the Scotts are friends and that Melody needs to let things go at certain times at least. And all I could think was provider, protector, professor. That's what Melody posted to her IG stories, and he lacks all three, okay? After everything that the Scotts put Melody, her mother, and her children through, you definitely should have ran it by her first. But that's how that scene ends. Next, we get Melody, Martel, the kids, and Mama Holt at the beach. We get a whole bunch of scenes of all of them frolicking in the water with the kids. And then we get this whole love song, you guys, which is a big deal because they only ever play sound effects on this show. But a group called Ja Sun sings a song called Where Is Your Love? And the scene opens with them singing, We Were the Perfect Couple. In confessional, Mel says that the whole family is having fun on the beach, and that's exactly what she meant when she said creating memories. Then she emphasized no matter how short-lived or long-lived they may be. Then we get a scene of Melody doing this yoga stretch in the water. It's like downward dog. And as soon as Martel sees her, he starts cracking up. He tells her not to twerk in front of the kids, and she just laughs it off or whatever. Then he pulls out his iPhone. He starts going through pictures of them when they were a family, okay? He said, this is a picture from 2019. Melody says, I don't even remember, but she probably does and doesn't want to go there with Martel. Then she said, do you have all of this in your phone? He says, yeah, that it just pops up because of iPhone memories. Then Mel said, oh, okay, you do be sending me pics and stuff like the other day when you, and before she can get it out, Martel says, hold my phone, and he starts running toward the water. Like he is like, I don't want to hear what you got to say. But Melody's intention is to air him all the way out. She starts laughing a little bit at first, but then she said, like the other day when you said, would you marry me again? In confessional, Melody says that she recognizes Martel's game, okay? He's a one-trick pony. She said that he used to do the exact same thing during the marriage when she would leave him because of the affair. Then she said that he ain't got to do that no more because they are divorced. He can put that phone away and focus on these kids. Then Tisha, Marceau, and their kids arrive at the beach. They look like they were struggling to get down that beach too. Tisha is like so far behind them. Everybody's legs are longer than hers, so they are walking much faster, but she is probably used to it. When they finally make it over to Melody and Martel, Martel gives them a big hearty greeting. Hey y'all, how y'all doing? You can tell he's happy to see him. Melody is not very happy to see them. However, she did speak. She said, hi to everybody. How y'all doing? Tisha actually said, Mel, this is the first time that I've seen you with braids, girl. Literally talking to her like they are old buddies, okay? Mel says that it is the first time and that she did it for her girls. Martel is feeling really nostalgic at this point, having Melody, the kids, and their old friends and their children back together again. So now his mouth is saying things that his brain hasn't thought out completely. And he jokes, the braids do look pretty good on her. Wink, wink. Well, Melody is not here for it, and she stares Martel down, okay? Like snap out of it. Tisha and Marceau definitely could pick up her vibe, and they started shifting, swaying, shaking their head like, damn. And Martel felt it too. He was standing there looking like a scorned child, okay? Like just 5 seconds ago, we were laughing and having fun, and now all of a sudden you're upset. What's wrong? What's wrong? But in confessional, he actually said what's wrong. He said that Melody is trying to keep herself in a safe place, throwing jabs here and there, like stay back, Martel. Boo, those are called boundaries, okay? And when you cross them, she's gonna jab you and tell you to stay the hell back. But unfortunately for Mel, right now she is on vacation with 3 adults who are habitual boundary crossers. But Martel still doesn't get it because he continues to say in confessional that he was the one who got their daughter's hair braided. And the only reason Mel got her hair braided is because she knew that he liked them. In Melody's confessional, she said that her mood changed when she saw the Scotts and that she felt disrespected. She said she hopes that everything stays cool so that she can get back to her peaceful vacation. Then we get a scene where Mel, Martel, and the Scotts all decide to go into the beach house to talk, and they leave all of the kids on the beach with Mama Holt. And she said that she didn't mind not one bit, okay? Now, once they get into the house, Martel is sitting with the Scotts in the living room, and Melody is at the counter trying to get her mood right. She's eating watermelon. But I could tell that Tisha became a little bit of an agitator in this scene, okay? She is staring at Mel. She's watching her closely while she's making comments like, oh, so this is a family vacay. Oh, wow, this is nice. Is Van here? This is the Martel and Mel we like. This is what we're used to. And even though Melody is making some faces, she does not shut all the way down like Destiny did. So I do want to make that distinction. But Marceau is also watching both Melody and Martel very closely, okay? His eyes are shifting back and forth between them like he is watching a tennis match. He can also see how happy Martel is when Tisha is insinuating that they're a couple and how agitated Melody is by the same exact thing. In confessional, Melody says she's tired of the Scotts trying to push a narrative they want to fit for her. She said this is not the old days. When they return to the scene, Marceau tries to squash it, and he says that it's nice to see you and Martel being so mature and coming together for the kids. Melody joins all of them in the living room, and then they small talk a little bit about vacay activities, fishing, etc. Then Tisha asks Martel if he could take MJ fishing with them, okay? She said, isn't that what family and friends do? Sometimes you need a village. Yes, y'all heard it right. Tisha said, sometimes you need a village. And the first time we ever heard this term used amongst them was from Destiny in season 3. And it was after Martel had threatened to take Melody to court for full custody. But Mel says Martel doesn't believe in villages. And Tisha actually huffs and said, Martel definitely believes in that. And it sounds like she was going to say, he's asked me or someone she knows to babysit a couple of times before Mel cuts her off and said, no, he doesn't. In confessional, Melody said that Martel's problem with villages is that he doesn't have control. But the energy between Mel and Martel is getting a little thick. Marceau can sense it, so he laughs it off and says, can you guys write down your trigger words? He said, we're not allowed to say past, family, watching kids. Martel then half-jokingly asks Tisha and Marceau to leave because Melody is acting different. Tisha immediately says, really? Really? And you could tell in that moment that she was triggered. She was having a flashback of being thrown out of that event that Melody had in season 2. But Melody pushes through it and she brings it back to the kids and vacationing, okay? She's like, the kids were driving the golf cart. We were doing this. Tisha then says, again, insinuating that Melody and Martel were a couple. Was it just the two of you on the golf cart? Melody quickly says, no, it was all of us. Marceau says, that's a trigger word. Do not insinuate just those two ever. And Melody said, yeah, because it's not factual. And with that statement, Melody had knocked all of the wind out of Martel's sails, okay? He was done. Melody looked over at Martel and like a mama chastising their child, said, what's wrong with you? And now Tisha seems really sensitive to Martel's energy. She is like focused on him. And it's clear that they have a lot in common right now, okay? A lot of what Martel is feeling, what he wants for Melody, and she's not giving, some of the same stuff that Tisha goes through with Marceau, things she wants that he doesn't give to her. But Marceau makes a joke to lighten the mood. Martel laughs. Melody, jumps into the joke as well to keep things in a lighter mood. Then since they were talking about the kids driving, Marceau asks who's the better driver between Melody and Martel. Melody points at Martel, and then she suggests that they play that famous TikTok game where two people are asked questions and they either point at themselves or at the other person to give the answer. Marceau suggests that they turn their chairs so that they're sitting back to back, and then we get the no longer newlywed game. Now, of the 5 questions they were asked, they both agreed that Mel was the better cook, that Mel did the kids' hair better, that Martel was a better cleaner. They were asked who was the most fun parent, and both of them just kind of shrugged, which let me know it was a 50-50 thing. Then Tisha asked who loved the hardest. Melody shrugged like neither one of us. Martel said that he loved the hardest, and he was a little offended that Melody didn't have an answer. Then they switched seats, and Tisha and Marceau agreed on all of the questions, okay? Tisha spends the most time with the kids. Marceau is a better cook. Tisha cooks the most, however. Tisha is also the one who gets all of MJ's haircuts. Now, Melody and Martel double over laughing, and Marceau was slightly embarrassed because truly, That's his only son, and you would think that he would spend some time bonding with this child, but apparently not. Then Mel asks, who did their kids like to be around the most? And it happened to have been Marceau. Mel says, well, the one who doesn't do shit, huh? Then Melody and Martel double over in laughter again. They were high-fiving each other. You can tell that when they were all friends and couples, they used to compete with each other as a couple. And Martel was really impressed with Melody's questions. He even said, where did you come up with that? That was a good one. Where did you come up with that? She was like, I don't know. I just came up with it. But I thought the four of them really did have a genuine chemistry in this scene. And if they could find a way for the next season to bring that to the show, that would be great. So next up, we have Kimmy and Maurice. Kimmy is still going through her cancer journey, and she has made a decision to cut her hair. She said that as a medical professional, along with everything she has been told and, heard from other people, she is going to lose her hair. So she has made the decision to cut her hair because she said that is her decision. She can control it, and she would rather do it that way than to see it in the shower. So Kimmy invites two of her friends over, one to cut her hair and one to hold her hand. Now, all of that hair is really Kimmy's, and the friend that is cutting her hair is actually going to make a unit out of it and give it back to Kimmy. And even though this scene was very beautiful, it was also very heavy. When the friend clips that first lock, Maurice looked like he was going to pass out. He actually swerves a little bit and then leans on the counter. And he manages to keep it together. In fact, everyone was saying, we don't want to cry. This is just, a moment in your life journey. Your hair will grow back. You are beautiful. You are pretty. They're saying all the right things to keep her encouraged. But when they cut that last section of hair off of Kimmy's head, she closed her eyes and literally shuddered. You could just see the energy just pass through her body. Then it was Maurice's turn to cut Kimmy's hair. He was supposed to fade out a small section in the back. At least I think that was what he was supposed to do, but it did not end up looking faded out. I'll put it like that. Then Kimmy ends up sharing a story about how her and Maurice met. She said that she stalked him on Facebook for a little while, and then his sister-in-law, Patricia, the one that was married to the other brother, told her that Maurice was a barber. So she DM'd him, jumped in those DMs, and said, hey, can you cut Jalen's hair? And she said that was their first introduction to each other. Now, introduction is a very interesting choice of words, especially since people were saying that Kimmy was a side chick, and she was like, under no circumstances, never that. I did not chase Maurice. I didn't do any of those things. But now she's saying that she did pursue Maurice. But back to this scene, they give Kimmy a mirror so that she can see her big chop. And she is emotional. She looks up at the lady who was cutting her hair, and she was like, thank you. And the lady said, her friend said, I told you I wasn't doing that. I'm not doing that. She looks over at her other girlfriend, who she said is her rider. She's always there for her. They hug. They're crying a little bit. And then she does get up, and the friend who told her that she didn't want to cry, they end up hugging, and they did start crying. And I'm going to tell you that it was actually heartbreaking, because you could see the pain and also the gratitude in Kimmy's face. She hugs Maurice. Tears are rolling from both of them. It looks and feels like Kimmy is just trying to live in the present and to feel the love each and every single day. We get a flashback scene of Maurice and Kimmy's relationship, their wedding, all of that good stuff. Maurice says that Kimmy is not her hair, she is not her breast, or none of that. None of those things. They fade out eventually. She is her spirit. She is her smile. She is the person who cares for others. He said that that was the essence of Kimmy. He also said that it doesn't change how he loves her, and that he is more and more in love with her each and every day. In the last scene, we go back to the beach house, Marceau and Martel are upstairs playing pool. Tisha and Mel are downstairs having girl talk. Martel asks Marceau how are things going. Marceau says that the trip to Africa really helped change his perspective on time and family. Then Marceau says that he wants to address the elephant in the room with Martel, and he asks how did him and Melody become cool again? Because when they were all together at the Vegas trip, Martel and Melody were wilding out. And Martel says that they both got the time they needed to go through the pain. He said that we had a good life and now things will never be the same again. Then Martel said that he finally gets why Melody checked out on him. He said that it was because of something he did. He didn't say what, just that it was something I did. And that he's done pointing fingers at her, saying that she didn't do things for him. She wasn't cooking for him. She wasn't sleeping with him. Now, in confessional, he actually fixed his mouth to say that he gave Melody a year plus to get it together. But in the scene, Marceau asked Martel, did he expect to get it the same way after they were married? Martel responds, well, they do say that your bedroom life changes after you get married. Martel is a 40-something-year-old college-educated man who watched his wife work as hard as he did, have babies, do everything around the house, and this is what he thinks? But okay, sure. Marceau says that he can see it from both sides. He said that Martel has grown a lot every time he talks to him, and if Martel had another opportunity to do it all over again with Melody, it would be different. Then Marceau asked, how would he feel if Melody started dating again? Martel says that's a conversation for him and Mel to have when the time is right. Marceau said, I'm glad to hear you say that. But you guys, when the time is right is a red flag. Who determines when the time is right? Marceau also says in confessional that on the surface, Martel's temperament doesn't seem like he can take seeing Mel with another man. However, he says that it might be the best thing for him because right now he thinks that Mel can't find anyone to take his place. She won't find anyone as good as him. But the truth is she can and she will. Now downstairs, Tisha is asking Mel the same kind of questions. She said, I'm assuming everything is going good. Mel said, there's no issues. Tisha says, is that what you expected? Mel responds, that's what I was hoping for. Then Tisha asked what made Mel invite Martel on this trip. Melody said, I was in a better place, and I was wise enough not to be peer pressured by others telling me what they thought I should be doing. In confessional, Melody said that she was healed from walking away from that picture-perfect marriage, and she hasn't woke up not one day regretting any of it. Then Tisha asked what Mel had to do to get in a better place. Mel said it was a lot of self-reflection, a lot of isolation, and a lot of revelation. Now Tisha hears what Mel is saying, but she doesn't understand it at all. This is a level of self-care that Tisha has not experienced yet. In confessional, Tisha says that she does hope alone time has brought Mel her peace. However, Mel is good at portraying what she wants you to see. And sometimes she's so good, she fools herself a lot. Now, Mel did say that she walked away from a picture-perfect marriage, which she later exposed as not being perfect. So that alone shows that Mel has done the work. And that's what Tisha should have said in her confessional instead of trying to take a jab. This is no different from Galentine's, where Tisha thought she was being funny, saying, oh, everybody knew Martel was cheating and you stayed with him. And Mel said, well, I'm not with him now. You're still with yours, so what's up with that? Now, Tisha staying with Marceau is 100% her business. But when someone gives you a picture of your husband's back and you say you don't know what it looks like, that's you faking. That's you pretending, girlfriend. When you say that Marceau going to Africa was just a last-minute thing, because that's what he always does, and a whole doctor with a degree say, no, ma'am. Going to Africa takes planning. He had to look up the trip. He had to prepare the flight. He had to figure out which hotel he was staying in. There was a lot of work that went into it. He did all of those things before he told you. There was no last minute planning in that. That took weeks. That took months. And you sat there with a smile on your face and never addressed it again. That was you faking it and pretending. When you ask your husband if you can renew your wedding vows, and he says no, and you take him to a chapel where he refuses to even say, I love you, you're a good wife, you're a good mother, and then you handle it by saying, we have 16 years of marriage, put some respect on our marriage, that's you faking and pretending. The list literally goes on and on, but Tisha had a front row seat watching what Melody went through, and she also saw what Melody pulled herself out of, so she should put some respect on that, okay? And in the last scene, we get a confessional from Martel, where he said that if he could travel back in time, him and Mel would still be together, living under the same roof and raising their children. He said every year they would just talk it out until they worked it out, okay? And then he stops talking. He looks like he's trying to stop himself from crying, and then he excuses himself from the set. He literally stands up and walks away. So honestly, guys, I think the reason why Mel dropped the behind the scenes footage, the pictures and all of that, and she put the dates out there, she point blank asked, when did I take the Destin trip? The trip happened at the end of June and everything unraveled from there. Check out the links in the comment section if y'all need some more backstory on Sheree, on AC, on all of it. But this trip is what started it. Martel saying that he wanted his family back. And Melody telling him no. But you guys, let me know what y'all think. Like the video, subscribe to my channel, hit your notification bell, and I will check you all on the next one.